What's going on, everyone? This is Office Hours. Today we're going to be talking about Deep Dive. Deep Dive is one of my very favorite parts of the tool. It's telling my internet connection is unstable, so hopefully it doesn't cut out. Hopefully it's good. But Deep Dive is one of my favorite parts of Data Dive because it lets you analyze images. Like I was saying earlier, I think there's still a very long way to go in terms of how Deep Dive is going to be developed, how it's going to get better. But what I hope is that what I share today is going to be helpful. So let's see. So I'm not going to spend too much time actually going through Deep Dive because it's actually very, very simple. A lot of the stuff I'm going to talk today is things that happen outside of Deep Dive, how you can start to analyze images. But basically, you get to Deep Dive on the left-hand side of the screen. You navigate to the Deep Dive tab. You're going to see at the top distribution of search volume and then also which brands are dominating. When you start off by default, you're going to have the expanded view, which shows the image gallery. It shows some technical information about the product. Down here, it's going to show you variations, so you can quickly see how many sellers have variations, and then you can see sales in Keepa charts here. Now, the hack for using Deep Dive is if you click this little button for the collapse to all view, then you'll see all of the image galleries all together. Now, one other thing that I do want to say just technically is you'll notice that the search volume trends from Google in the quarterly median, these are not showing up. How you get these to show up is when you're starting your dive, you need to make your dive, the title of your dive, just your hero keyword. So the reason that this is not pulling data in is because if I had made this just anxiety cards, that would be good. It would pull in that information. But because I have this EU office hours, the system can't quite figure out, like, it can't pull in any search data for that. So if it can't figure it out, it just doesn't do it. So the process to getting these in the correct information to display here is when you're starting your dive, just put in your hero keyword. You can rename it later to whatever you want. But if you have all this extra stuff on it, it's not going to pull in the dive correctly. Now, the other thing that I want to just note real quick about Deep Dive, right? We can see all of the image galleries all in one spot, right? Fantastic, great, awesome. But the other thing to keep in mind is we also have the color coding system. So if you remember from the master keyword list, your MKL, right? We have this color coding system, which is telling you what percentage of the master keyword list out of all of the keywords there, what percentage is a seller ranked on page 1 for. So hopefully this is gonna go. So you'll remember anyone who is 80+%, those are the people that show up red, right? Anyone who's 60+%, those are the people that are showing up orange, right? Why am I telling you this? Sorry, it's just going a little slow, so I'm stalling a little bit. I hope it's gonna work. I have to here we go. So see here, this seller, they're ranked on page 1 for 99% of the MKL, so that's why they're showing up as red. Anyone who's more ranked on page 1 for more than 80% of the search volume is going to be showing up as red, very strong. Anyone who's 60+% is going to be strong, yellow, weak, 40+%. Hey everyone, I know I cut out there. I'm just switching to my hotspot real quick. Give me 1 minute. Here we go. Yeah, 1 second. I'm just connecting. Oh my goodness gracious. Why is this not working? Give me 1 minute, everyone. Okay, let me know if this is working. I just connected to my hotspot. I'm here in the Bahamas right now, so the internet at this hotel is just not very good. Let me know in the chat. Can you hear me clearly now? Is this sounding okay? Check the chat. Okay, now. Okay, cool. All right, let's get back into it. So what I was explaining earlier is that color coding system that you see in the MKL showing how well someone is doing. is going to show up here as well. And so what you have to understand about that, right? It's not a dead giveaway that this image gallery is something that I want to copy just because this person's red, right? There could be people that have beautiful image galleries. This person here has a beautiful image gallery, but they're green. So what you have to do is you kind of have to think about it critically, right? What you have to think about is that if people are showing up in red, what that means is they have really great performance for the majority of the keywords on the master keyword list. This seller here is ranked on page 1 for 99% of the MKL. If I look at the MKL, I can see that for almost every single keyword, almost everything that shows up there, right? What are we seeing here? They're in one of the top 5 positions, right? They're ranked really high for everything. So what I can assume from that is that if someone here, right, if they're ranked number 1 for dog cot, number 2 for elevated dog bed, number 4 for raised dog bed, what I can deduce from that is that if someone types in dog cot, this person here is going to be the first highest performer, followed by this person, followed by any of the numbers, right? I would try to look for 4, 5, 6. Who else is ranking really well for that? And so if this person here is ranked in position 1 for dog cot, right? They're ranked on page 1 for 99% of the MKL. They are doing something right? Okay, so that's going to be an indicator that something in their image gallery is allowing them to perform so well, right? Just a higher correlation. So these are the image galleries we want to take a look at. Okay, so with that being said, how can you actually start to look through what's going on in Deep Dive? How can you analyze an image gallery and say, okay, let me try to go and do better? So for that, I'm going to share a few slides here. If you've seen the talks before, you might recognize some of this. So I'm going to go through this, and then we're going to jump into Q&A. It's going to take me probably 10 minutes or so to go through this. So here's the thing to understand. This is what I was talking about earlier, right? People who are in red, people who are ranked for a large percentage of the master keyword list, how they got there is from performance, right? And performance is something that is always changing. And more importantly, performance is something that is always relative. So when we're thinking about a conversion rate, a big question that I get is people say, Anthony, what's a good conversion rate for my product? And the answer is it really depends. It depends on what the average conversion rate is for the niche. And if you are overperforming relative to that average, right, you can expect that your organic rankings are going to go up, right? And if your average relative to the niche is lower, then you can expect that your organic rankings are going to go down as other people who are performing better, right? Amazon is just recalculating who deserves to be in the top spot. It's going to keep recalculating that. So if I'm selling a product and I'm in niche 1, right, where the average conversion rate for niche 1 is 15%, if I'm converting at 22%, then I'm going to have a very strong performance relative to the niche. You can expect that my organic rankings are going to go up. Now, if I take that same conversion rate, my product's converting at 22%, and I'm here in niche 2, well, in that case, I'm going to be slightly underperforming, right? It's like fair performance relative to the niche. So if I stay in this position at 22% relative to the niche average of 25%, I can expect that over time, my organic rankings are either going to stay the same or very slowly, other people are going to come and take that spot. And then my organic rankings are going to go down. And then again, if I am selling in a niche with a 45% conversion rate and I still maintain that 22% conversion rate, what's going to happen, right? This is very weak performance relative to the niche. And what you're going to find is that other people are going to increase their ranks while you are going to go down probably a lot faster than if you were here in niche 2. So these are just some tips for visual content strategies. The next thing that I want to talk about is the secondary image matrix, right? And this is something that you can start using right now to help you get a better analysis out of Deep Dive. And so where this comes from is about a year ago when I was preparing for a talk for $1 Billion Seller Summit, Kevin King's event, I did an analysis where I was looking through 500 top selling Amazon accounts. And I asked a VA to go through and download all of the images in all of the image galleries and start to categorize the images by type, right? I wanted to see out of all of the images on the Amazon platform, what are the most common types of images? Because then I can start to figure out, okay, how do we make each of them better, each type better? And so if you look through all of your images, all of the image gallery, you're going to see the same things over and over again. It's going to break down into roughly these 16 images or combinations of these images. And so the reason that I push people to start categorizing their images and see what am I working with is because if you use the same language, right, to describe something, then it becomes really clear, right? With every image in the image gallery, you want to figure out, right, what is the best way to accomplish the mission of this image, right? So if I have a product anatomy graphic, right, what's the purpose of this image? It's to show different points on the product, right? I've got this water bottle and it's got this really nice cap, or it's got this label. It's going to point to different things. It's going to say, here is what this is. So when I start to think about things in a consistent fashion, right, what do we call this? Then I can figure out, okay, I know in my image gallery, I need to have a product anatomy graphic, right? So now the question isn't, what do I do? The question is, how do I make the best possible product anatomy graphic, right? And so for that, I developed the scoring system. And this is something that I've been working on for years and years and years. And where this comes from is I would go speak at conferences. I would talk about image optimization. And every single time, like clockwork, people would come up to me afterwards and they would say, hey, Anthony, can you take a look at my listing, right? Can you give me some feedback? Are my images good, right? What would you improve? And I love doing that. It's given me a lot of really great experience, but it's just not scalable. So I thought, what of all of these calls that I've been on, what are the common things that people have wrong in their image galleries? And how can I come up with a scoring system to help, address that, to think of how we can make images better? And so for this scoring system, it is just very simple. It's 3 points. You can do half a point if you want for each. And then you just ask yourself 3 questions. Question number 1 is, do I understand the purpose of this image? Question number 2 is, are all of the concepts within this image related and cohesive? And question number 3, is the image visually impressive? So, like I was showing on the earlier slide, right, we had those 16 different image types. What you're going to see when you look at Deep Dive is you're going to see the same thing over and over and over and over again. All of these sellers are trying to sell very similar products. And so you could imagine that because everyone's selling the exact same thing, that the image galleries are going to have the same types of image over and over again. And so for this image here, what you're going to notice is that all 3 of these images are designed to do the exact same thing. They're trying to show you that, okay, this is a travel pillow. And if you sleep on your left, if you sleep on your right, if your head goes back or forward, that this travel pillow is going to give you complete support, right? 360-degree support. So just like if you were looking at Deep Dive, you're going to see the same image over and over again. Here, we see the same image over and over again. Now, the point about this is that even though these images are trying to accomplish the same thing, right, some are more effective than other. And so I'll walk you through my justification of how I went and did this scoring system. And so remember our questions from earlier. Do I understand the purpose of the image? Are all the concepts in the image related and cohesive? And is the image visually impressive? So for this first image here, I would say, okay, do I understand the purpose of the image? This, and you can use half points. This, I would say, it's close. I don't fully understand the purpose of the image. I can see here it's saying 360-degree support, but that's about it, right? If I really look at this, I can say, okay, I guess they're trying to tell me that this pillow has good support for your neck, right? Probably 1 point here, maybe only half a point. I don't think this does a great job of explaining to me what the point of this graphic is. Now on here, on question 2, are all of the concepts within this image related and cohesive? Here, we don't get a point for that, right? Because what do we have going on? We've got a lot going on here. We've got the title, 360-degree support. Then we've got a bunch of different bullet points, and it looks like it's more of a product anatomy graphic, right? We're showing different points of the product. It's explaining some features, right? So I understand the purpose of the image roughly, but are all of the concepts in the image related and cohesive? No, right? We're trying to do a product anatomy graphic with a feature graphic telling me something about the product, and we're combining those 2 in. And then in terms of visual impressiveness, I'm really not blown away with this image, so that's why I didn't give it a point there. So this one gets 1 point. Now, same graphic, different seller, different image gallery. What's going on here? Okay, number 1, do I understand the purpose of the image? Okay, this one clicks a lot better. It's telling me there's 3 comfortable ways that I can wear the pillow, and it's showing me that I can do it to the right, I can do it to the left, and I can do supine, like putting my head back, right? So this is going to get 1 point for, do I understand the purpose? It's going to get 1 point for, is everything related and cohesive, right? We're not trying to talk about the zipper, the Velcro, the quality of the fabric. We're just trying to show the head position. So this one is all related and cohesive. Now, could I give this half a point for does the image look good? Yeah. But the reason I didn't is because I'm looking at this one, and this one for sure looks the best. And so what's going on in this graphic here? Do I understand the purpose? Yes, right? Any sleeping position. Are all the concepts in the image related and cohesive? Yes, it's literally just showing me the different sleeping positions. And then 3, is the image visually impressive? This one, I think, does the best job of not only looking good, but being functional, right? If the point of the image is to show that, hey, you can put your head to the left, to the right, you can put it back, why am I going to spend 30% of the pixel space in this image showing a shot of the product, right? That's not what people want to see. That could be for something else in my image gallery. But for this one, I really just want to show, hey, if you're a side sleeper, if you're a front sleeper, if you're a back sleeper, that this is going to be comfortable, right? So this is going to get all of the points here. What you should think about with all of the images in your image gallery is, okay, what do I need to accomplish in this gallery, right? What has done well in this category? If I look at the people who are performing the best, what types of images do they have in their gallery, right? You're going to be able to look very quickly at any image gallery. Once you start doing this, let's just pull up one here. If I go to deep dive, I can start to apply these, categories, right? Let's take a look here. What do we have here, right? We've got a main image, right? This is what's included in the kit, or this is like some features about the product. This is showing you the applications, what it's good for, right? And so you're going to see all of these, right? Like we saw earlier. So now the question is, if I am selling these anxiety cards, right? I look through everyone's image gallery and I say, okay, 60% of the people in their image position 2 are talking about the benefits of using these anxiety cards, right? So if I see a version here, I see a version here, I see a version here, now I can very quickly look and say, okay, I know I need to have a graphic that's explaining this one thing. Here's all of the people that have an example of that graphic. How can I go and make the best graphic possible, right? Elevated dog bed. What you're going to see here, you got a sizing graphic here, right? We got another sizing graphic here. We got another sizing graphic here. We know for sure if I'm launching this product, if I'm selling this product and I want to optimize my image gallery, I'm going to have a sizing graphic. People want to buy this bed and they're curious, is this going to fit for the type of dog that I have? So now what I can very quickly do is I can look through all of the examples of the sizing graphic and I can ask myself, okay, I know I need to have a sizing graphic, a product anatomy graphic, a how-to graphic, an applications graphic. Out of all of the examples in my category, outside of my category, how can I make the best possible image? So let's keep moving here. So we talked about the scoring system. Practically what you can do is, this is just a good way for you to start thinking about how to make your images better. The other thing I want to just emphasize about the scoring system is that these are in order of importance, right? Where most people go wrong is they try to make their image as visually impressive as possible, but they haven't really locked in what's the purpose of that image, right? And so that's why the scoring system, it starts, most important thing, number one thing to focus on is, do I understand the purpose of this image, right? One of the practical ways that I like to do this, or I tell people to figure out, do you understand the purpose of the image, is what I call the 5-second test. So if you go to your spouse, you go to your significant other, you go to a friend, someone who ideally has no knowledge of your product, if you would show them an image in your image gallery, right? Let them look at it for 5 seconds, then you take it away and you say, what's the purpose of that image? If what they tell you is very different from what you thought the purpose of the image is, then what you can assume is that anyone who's shopping on the Amazon platform is probably not going to get that same message that you have, right? They're probably going to get it wrong. Okay? 5-second test. So that leads really well into this last part, and then we'll wrap up and we'll start going through Q&A. But like, what you have to understand about when people are shopping on Amazon is that when people are shopping, they're engaging typically in distracted shopping, right? So we have this expectation that when someone's shopping, right, they're looking to buy a red spatula, they're going to come to your listing and they're going to look at every single image in the image gallery, right? They're going to really analyze it, make sure they understand what's going on. They're going to read all of your listing content. If you have some videos, they're going to watch your videos. They're going to go down and play around with the A+ content. And once they read and absorb all of your information, right, taking their time to do it, then they've got a big smile on their face, their credit card out, and they're ready to click add to cart. The reality, though, is very, very different, right? And we know this because we also shop on Amazon. When you're shopping, you have a very specific idea of, okay, I need to go and buy this thing. You've got all of this crazy stuff going on in your life, the kids running around in the background, the dog barking, phone's going off, work is blowing up, right? All of these things. And so all you want to do is you have this goal. I need to buy a red spatula. I'm going to go to Amazon. I need to find any red spatula that's going to serve my needs. I'm going to add it to cart, and then I want to get back on with my life. And so you got to think that as much as we'd love people to really sit down and look at all the images in our image gallery, this is all about speed, right? And when someone is confused, when they don't understand what the purpose of an image is, when they don't understand the selling points of your product, they do not try to figure it out on their own, right? They do not try to sit there and understand what you're trying to say. They're going to bounce. They're going to go to one of the other tabs that they have open, which is likely one of your competitors. And if someone else does a better job of explaining, okay, I know I need to buy a red spatula, right? I've got 4 tabs open looking at red spatulas. If your images are not clear, if it doesn't click to them very, very fast, right, they're going to bounce. They're going to look at someone else who does a better job. So what we really have to do is we have to tailor our listing to be effective in a distracted shopping environment, right? What you have to think is if you have 6 images in your image gallery, right, main image, that's not really for conversion, it's more for click-through rate. Let's say you've got 5 more images. Those are 5 opportunities for you to say, okay, this is what people are searching for. Here's a long list of all the things people are searching for. I have 5 opportunities in my image gallery to tell them the most important things that's going to help them say, okay, out of all the other products I'm looking for, this is the one that I'm going to add to my cart, right? That is conversion optimization. So we're going to skip ahead here. I'm going to give a few more tips. One day, I have a really strong feeling that we're going to be able to actually calculate this. My hypothesis is speed of comprehension, right? That if someone looks at the images in your image gallery, how quickly do they understand what you're trying to explain? That's step number 1. And does that line up with what they're looking for, right? So if I'm going to buy that elevated pet bed and I want to know, is this going to fit my golden retriever who's 120 pounds, right? I have a very specific thing in my head, right? I'm going to go look at all these other listings, and the first person to tell me, okay, this golden retriever this bed is going to support a 120-pound dog or golden retriever, right? That's going to check off one thing. There might be 5 things, there might be 10 things that I need to know before I buy a product. And the faster that happens, right, the higher the conversion rate is. I think you're going to be able to calculate it. So when we're talking about this tip here, right, the tip here is don't just make your images mobile friendly, make them ultra mobile friendly, right? So that there's no question whatsoever about the purpose of this image. So if I was going to do this 5-second test and show this image to someone who has never seen this product, it's a protein supplement, right? Protein shake. If I was going to show someone this product, show someone this image, they're going to look at it and in not even 5 seconds. It's not going to take 5 seconds for them to come to a conclusion that, okay, it's telling us that, hey, this is 100% premium whey, right? Here are the macro ingredients that you're looking for, right? And this is the dosage. This is how much of it's going to be in there. So really just try to focus on, if someone looks at your image, are they going to understand it in 5 seconds? Are they going to understand it in 15 seconds? Or could you potentially have a more simple graphic that they're going to understand in half a second, right? That's what we want to shoot for. This is just a general tip here as well. And this is talking about product anatomy graphics, but it really can apply to anything. And the whole point is just to make your images more simple. So if I was creating a product anatomy graphic where I wanted to show, in this case, I've got 6 things to talk about in my product, rather than putting all 6 of those things into one image, try to think about, okay, how can I group these things together so that someone's going to understand it faster, right? So instead of putting 6 things that someone has to look at, that their brain has to figure out what's important, right? Maybe one of them is talking about, okay, this is the fabric, that this is really good fabric, it's really soft, it's not going to fade. And then the other one, maybe it's talking about the adjustability, or that this thing is really stable. So even inside of that product anatomy graphic, I've now broken it apart into multiple product anatomy graphics, where I'm not just saying, hey, here's 6 things about the product that you need to know. It's like, okay, this is the best fabric for a hammock. And then the other thing is that this is really easy to set up, or that this is really stable. So think about, if you have too many concepts going on in your image, think about breaking them apart into multiple images. Now, speaking of speed of comprehension, right? Whenever possible, avoid relying solely on standalone lifestyle images. And the reason why is these are all beautiful images, right? But you're thinking about speed of comprehension. You're thinking about that 5-second test. if I were to show this image here to someone who has no knowledge of the product, who's never seen this product before, they might be very confused, right? They might look at this and be like, I don't know, is this an ad for a hammock? Is it an ad for a dating site? Is it an ad for, who knows, right? So what we can do to make the lifestyle images a little more effective, right, is leverage text. So if you have a lifestyle image, you can still have really beautiful lifestyle images, but just add a little bit of text and it's going to increase that speed of comprehension, right? And the hypothesis is as you have a higher speed of comprehension, you're going to have a higher conversion rate. Another thing too here is not talking about competitors unless you have a tangible benefit. So both of these graphics I'd say are good, right? You think about those images we used to see a lot on Amazon that are in our image gallery where it's like that big list of checks and X's and your product is all green checks and everyone else is red, right? Not super effective from the standpoint that this is not focusing on your product, it's focusing on all of the other competitors. So only put in those kind of graphics if you actually have a tangible benefit, right? It's gonna click a lot better. Just general tip is don't put branding on every image unless you're Kuzy. Obviously, Kuzy is a really big brand, right? Massive brand for insulation for coolers, right? And so, yeah, they can put their brand name on everything. The reason I don't suggest doing that is because this is just another element that is going to distract people from the point of the image, right? Remember what I was saying earlier. If we've got an image gallery with 6 images, main image is gone. We've got 5 other opportunities to convince someone this is the product that you should buy. So before someone buys a cooler, they want to know like how many cans is it going to hold, right? Is it leak resistant? Is it built to last? This is 10, 15% of the pixel space in the image that is not going to the point of this is 3 layers of insulation, right? This is, it's going to hold this many cans, right? All of these different benefits, right? I want to focus just on what that benefit is. So if I was making these a little bit better, I'd probably get rid of this, built to last, right? A lot clearer in the image. I think that's basically everything that I have. I should have pulled in a deck that had more slides, but we can go through a little bit more of the practical side of things in Q&A. Let me see if there's anything else here that I just want to mention. And then, yeah, everyone, you can start dropping chats in the, you can start dropping questions in the Q&A. I see Julia's got her hand up, so anyone who has their hand up, we're going to answer those questions first. Let me just see here. See if there's anything else that I needed to mention. And then we'll jump into Q&A. Yeah, so I guess the last thing I'll say here is, you can do the image scoring. What I really recommend doing, though, like number one step to get started is just start looking at image galleries, start categorizing these and say, okay, what are the types of images that I see here? And just get a mental idea in your head of like, okay, the people who are doing well in this category, they have a product anatomy graphic, right? They've got, this is talking about materials, they've got sizing, right? You're going to see the same types of images over and over again. So if I were to go through and label each of these one by one, and I'd say, okay, this is a sizing, this is a product shot, this is a lifestyle image, I could figure out a distribution. Maybe one day Data Dive is going to do this, where it would just say like, okay, this is a sizing graphic. And it would say 60% of people have a sizing graphic within the first 3 images of their image gallery. Right now, Data Dive doesn't do that, but you just want to look through and see trends of like, okay, what are the types of images people have, right? And if there's, in total, in this niche, there's like 10 different types of images, like sizing, lifestyle, whatever, right? There's 10 different types of images. What are earliest in the image gallery? And then if I'm going to make myself a sizing graphic and I've looked at everyone else's, how can I make the best possible version for myself?